Welcome to the 2024 CHHS Alumni Association Hall of Fame Luncheon. My name is Rick Claxton. I'm president of the Alumni Association, and I would like to thank you for joining us as we recognize and celebrate our fellow alums. I would also like to thank the members of both the Kiwanis Club and the Alumni Association for the efforts to make this event possible. You know, both groups are nonprofits. Your generous donations go to meet the needs of students and teachers. As Bill Rendeluke says, don't give until it hurts, give until it feels good. The bidding at both silent auction tables will close at 1 p.m. And now, let's begin by drawing our first raffle tickets. For the Siobhan David Prince, Gene and Jim, would you roll the drum, please? Ken Stradley is the winner.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we just thank you for all your blessings, Lord.
Bill, will you help us honor our flag and our heroes, past and present?
Colors post.
Ready, hold, left face, present, arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Special people in attendance today. Would the veterans please stand to be recognized? Individuals that stood up, stepped out, and respected their country enough to protect it. The freedoms you enjoy today, we owe to individuals like this. Thank you.
We'll sing God Bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you.
Forward, up.
We'd like to recognize Mike Smith, Preservation Committee. And if you'll join me on the stage, we'd like to give him about 5 minutes just to tell us what's going on with the school building at Capitol Hill High School.
Good to be with you folks this afternoon. I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on with our alma mater school building. I don't know if you're all familiar with what the proposed future for our building was, which was to be hauled to a landfill. And I wondered why he wasn't being a little more responsible with our tax money. And he said, well, we promised people in Capitol Hill a new school building. And I said, what's wrong with the existing school building? Well, you know, it's over 90 years old. And I said, well, you know, that doesn't make it educationally obsolete just because of... Fast forward to 2022, and I got together a group of people. We sat down and talked about what our options might be, and decided that we would make an effort to keep them from tearing the building down. So along the way, I've developed relationships with members of the school board. School board position has got to be the most thankless job in the world, and I appreciate how hard those folks work for pittance and compensation. And the plan was to tear down Capitol Hill and build this new building, and then tear the high school building down, tear the historic building down. So I started talking to people, getting ideas what we might try to do. A friend of mine suggested an online petition might be something to undertake, so we did. We gathered almost 3,000 signatures, printed up the signature list and the petition, presented it to the school board, and Paula Lewis, who's the chairwoman of the school board, received the petition from us. School building's going to remain. Field house, not so much. Years of lack of maintenance and disregard for another fine building, and that building's going to be lost, I'm afraid. But the school building will not be a school building anymore unless some of the ideas I've presented to the school board take root. Check out the Oklahoma City Public School website and send an email of thank you to the board members, chairwoman of the board, to the superintendent for their change of heart and now their change of direction. They're in the process of developing guidelines, policy, process so we don't have to go through this again.
We want to thank all of the teachers, administrators, staff who have been a part of the life of CHHS, both past and present, who are here today. Will you please stand so we can give you a round of applause? Next, we would like to recognize our oldest Redskin, Gene Rowland, class of 1946. Also here tonight is Louise King, class of 1949. The year I was born, as a matter of fact. Also, we would like to congratulate and recognize Redskins classes of the 50s. Would you please stand? Congratulations, and thank all of you for coming today. And we're going to be doing another raffle here. But also we would like to welcome today District 2 County Commissioner Brian Vaughn. Brian, thank you for coming today. Thank you, and this one's for $750 to Stella Contrell, is that correct? C-H-A-R-T-O-N, is that right? In times past, we have recognized distance as a marker of Redskin commitment. And today, Texas, Indiana, Missouri, Arkansas, and of course Oklahoma are representing the best of the Redskins. The longest distance traveled is 804 miles. George and Alicia Manick from Hanover, Indiana, class of 1963. Would you please stand? The Red Wolves are 100 years ago when tradition, they basically protect the legacy, tradition, and pride from some 100 years ago when the first definite promise was made in 1924 to build the building we know today as Capitol Hill High School. And now it's time to introduce members of the Capitol Hill High School Alumni Association, and family and friends, feel free to leave your chairs and take pictures during the awards ceremony.
Receiving the President's Award is George Shipley, class of 1958. George was born in Oklahoma City and has been a proud Southsider all his life. He began playing baseball when he was 5 years old. He's been described as an extremely competitive, extremely talented athlete whose abilities were invaluable to Capitol Hill High School sports. He was a two-way starter for the 1957 football state championship team under head coach C.B. Spiegel and line coach John Smith. He was a multi-year letterman on the Redskin baseball teams under head coach John Pryor. Following high school, he began his career in oil field sales. George sold service contracts to oil companies needing workovers or pulling units for wells. After work, he played ball. He played fast pitch softball, church league ball, and coached American League Baseball. His love of sports led him to coach summer youth baseball teams for many years. Two of George's protégés, George Wright from Capitol Hill and Mickey Tullaton from Southeast, went on to play for Toronto, the Texas Ranger, Oakland, Baltimore, and Detroit. George and his wife were married for over 60 years. Sports was a big part of their life. George has 2 daughters, 5 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. 2 of his grandsons played high school and college ball. Although he has no son of his own, he is proud of the young men he has coached. They hold a special place in his heart. George says the 50s were the best time for me. Sports were real important, and the motto, once a Redskin, always a Redskin, is still true today. We look after each other and help each other when help is needed. George has been an active member of the Capitol Hill High School Sports and Alumni Association for many years. He enthusiastically supports all the programs at Capitol Hill High School.
Some might say that George was born with a ball in his hand. If he wasn't playing ball, he was coaching ball. These days, he watches ball games and keeps an eye out for promising players. He says his days at CHHS were the best.
Thanks for the great intro. I want to shout out to Tony, Marla for gathering up, Marla for the information, Tony for putting these videos together. He does that at no charge and works hard at it. So he deserves a lot of attaboys. Now, when Roy called me about a month ago, and the phone rang, and I didn't recognize the number. I almost didn't answer it, but it didn't say spam on it, but it was a local number, so I answered it. And it was Roy, and he started telling me about being inducted, and my first thought going through my mind is, Roy, you dialed the wrong number. But he finally convinced me that he hadn't, so I said, okay, what'd I do? But anyway, I am very humble and very grateful to be inducted into this special group of proud Redskins. It means a great deal to me. My family, there's a lot of them sitting right out here. We'll not go into it. But I do have a couple of special thank yous I want to do. A special friend of mine that we've been friends for over 70 years. And the one that actually nominated me for this is Charlie Cowboy. And we've been friends since 7th grade at Capitol Hill Junior High School. He's sitting out here someplace. Charlie, where you at? And then also the selection committee, they go through quite an extensive process to decide who's going to get these 4, 5, or 6 awards each year. And I sat on that committee several years, and it's hard to do. So I give thanks to the committee, thanks to the board for the final approval. Really thank everybody. I thank everybody for being here. Thank you for supporting the association. Be careful going home, and God bless you.
Receiving the Humanitarian Award is Keith Butler, class of 1963. Junior high in 1960 and from Capitol Hill High School in 1963. He was a member of the Capitol Hill High School concert choir, and he traveled to the Music Educators Music Conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Later, at a Falls Creek encampment, Keith made a decision. He was inspired to enter the music ministry. Following his return, he made his way to Oklahoma Baptist University, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Music degree in 1967. From there, he completed a Master of Church Music from Southwestern Seminary in 1971. Keith and his wife, the former Laura Cumby, were married in 1966, and he was assigned to Fort Polk. He was reassigned as a chaplain's assistant to Schofield Barracks in Oahu, Hawaii for 2 years. He and Laura learned valuable lessons during this time in the Army about embracing Christianity. From the 1970s to the 1990s, Keith was a minister of music to Baptist congregations throughout Oklahoma. He was president of the Singing Churchmen of Oklahoma, traveling to China, Russia, Hong Kong, Spain, Armenia, Australia, and Israel. He was a recipient of the Royce Brown Lifetime Music Award. He's been president of the Putnam City Band and Orchestra Booster Club. He was president of the Capitol Hill Association Senior Adult Choir. In 1990, he retired from Olivet Baptist Church in Oklahoma City, and in 2002 became the owner of Recreation Adventure Tours. He strives to provide fun, faith-based travel with fine fellowship for seniors.
Well, it's a privilege to be here today. I had an experience that I didn't like to remember when I first got here, because I saw Siobhan Dakin, and I played football for 1 year, and that was enough for most people of my caliber. And I was playing middle linebacker, and we were on the Baptist mission team, and we were playing the Salvation Army, and Siobhan was the quarterback, and I was the middle linebacker, and I was across the line, and he took the ball. And I tackled him because I had no choice. He ran over me. I remember that. And then his mother helped take care of my youngest son. son at Capitol Hill Daycare years ago, who is here as well. We appreciate my family, my 2 sons and my daughter and my daughter-in-law and 2 grandsons who are here as well today. We had 5 children, all 5 graduated from Capitol Hill. The 2 oldest graduated in 1948. And then the middle brother, Pete, graduated in 1951. Now his name was really Aubrey Lee, and that's why he went by Pete. Some of you may have sung his song he wrote, a tune to redeem, how I love to proclaim it. And that's in our hymnals. Remember when we used to have hymnals? And he easily could be getting this award today, and I appreciate Rick Fisher for nominating me for this award. But his song has been sung in 10 different languages at the Belly Graham Crusade as well, and he is most noteworthy to have been here today as well. And then I graduated in 63, and my brother Lendl, who is here as well, graduated in 66. He also could have been up here today because while I was in Hawaii as a chaplain's assistant, he was up on a hill in the Marines in Vietnam. And I'm just grateful he came back. I remember in Jackson Junior High School, I was editor of the yearbook and the newspaper, and I got the opportunity to talk to a Capitol Hill graduate named Don Demeter. I was a Dodger fan all my life, so this was a real treat. And we got to visit, and I realized, looking forward to my time at Capitol Hill, and actually 11 graduates, I understand, from Capitol Hill have been signed to Major League contract and played in the Major Leagues over the years. I was the minister of music at Alma Baptist Church here in Oklahoma City for 21 years and thought I would end up there, but I had a friend who had this company called Recreation Adventure Church, and he wanted me to come to work with him and work with senior adults. And then in a couple of years I bought the company. And it's been a real blessing for this, even though it is a company. We feel like it's a ministry to folks. And one of the neat things about traveling is that we were on buses with people from all over the place, not just Oklahoma. And the first thing I would share on the beginning of our trip was I went to Capitol Hill High School. Proud of Capitol Hill High School. And in the bus, normally, more than half the time, was some graduates. In fact, we have some of those here today as well, because it's always been a thing of pride to have been a graduate of Capitol Hill High School, and it certainly was with all of my bus groups. At Capitol Hill, I was influenced, of course, by Ozzy and the choir. He meant so much to me and taught me so much. And then I'll never forget some of the wonderful comments I heard from my English teacher, Miss Kincaid, when she said, "You can murder, you can steal, but you cannot use a comma splice." And then she would say, "I'd love to be able to cut up on your head and put this knowledge in it, but I can't do that." That was just Miss Kincaid, I remember that. But the neatest thing about Capitol Hill High School for me was the fact that that's where I met my wife. I was a junior and she was a sophomore, and I was rather shy then, if you can imagine. And I went to a friend of ours and I said, "If I asked Laura to go to the choir band with me, would you ask her if she would go?" And she said yes. And so I'm grateful for that. Her name was Laura Cumbie. Her brother was Rocky Cumbie. Some of you may have went to Capitol Hill with him. He was a little older than we were. We've been married for 58 years, but it just seems like 15 minutes underwater. And the other day she told me to put act like a flamingo, but that's when I put my foot down. So, yeah, it's true. We've been to all 50 states together, mostly traveling on the bus. And we've also been to about 20 different countries, partly with our company, and then a lot of it was with the singing churchmen of Oklahoma on mission trips that we did together. Obviously, I'm not really worthy to be here today, but I'm so appreciative of this opportunity to be here. And the reason, another thing I want to mention that was the reason my wife and I got married was that she was an avid shopper, and she couldn't resist anything that was half off. So, but I had enough sense to answer the phone when Rick called and invited me to have an opportunity for this honor. And I may not be very deserving and very worthy, but certainly I'm very appreciative of this honor that was given to me, and I'm so grateful to the Alumni Association for selecting me for it. Thank you so much.
Receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award, Gary and Patricia Middleton, class of 1965. Gary was a letterman on the Capitol Hill High School football team while pursuing vocational technology and offset printing at Lee Elementary School. Patricia, or Patty, was a math major but opted for business courses in her senior year. They officially met in their sophomore year and married in September of 1965. Work was more important than the honeymoon, and Patty started working at AMC and later at a bank. Gary worked for owners of printing companies who taught him their methods of operating a print shop. It wasn't until 1972, after working for shops in Kansas and Oklahoma, that Patty and Gary took a leap of faith and moved to Pine Bluff, Arkansas to accept a position as plant manager for a pre-press company. In 1975, with $400 in the bank and a $10,000 handshake loan from a friend, Patty and Gary began Magna 4, a print premier color marketing and fulfillment company. Gary was the face and vision, and Patty was the office and the glue. Together, they built a business known for its excellence and quality. Gary believed in containing education and cutting-edge technology. Christy Delaney says, as employers, they were mentors and became family. They built a thriving 8-figure business that continues to this day, but their biggest legacy is the lives they impacted. They were good, fair, and very generous employers who were always the first to show up when an employee or customer or vendor needed a need. They never hesitated to give time, money, and support with no expectation in return. Lisa Wooten says, Gary was respected not only by his employees, but also by his peers. Gary was a mentor to hundreds. There are many social contacts convinced Gary that he had to learn to dance. Patty, of course, was his partner, and they learned to dance with Fred Astaire Studios. Patty went on to become a competitive ballroom dancer, winning regional and national championships for 17 years. Gary rode motorcycles, fished in Canada, and on the White River. He was on the board of the Game and Fish Foundation in Arkansas. Gary and Patty began the Redskin Roundup, a mini reunion of classmates and teammates that gathered in their homes for fun, food, and fellowship. They met in different locations throughout the years to play golf. Jerry Calcolt says, they epitomize the best of us. They are truly an inspiration to all of us from Capitol Hill High School. They never forgot their roots.
Good afternoon, everyone. First, I'd like to thank the Alumni Association for selecting Gary and me for this Lifetime Achievement Award. I only wish that Gary received it. I know he would have been very proud. And besides, he'd be giving a speech, not me. I would also like to thank those that nominated us and provided support documents, and for all those kind words that you must have said about us. I'd like to recognize my family and friends that are here with me today. My son, Kent, his son, and my grandsons, Austin and Landon, our niece, Carrie Foos Price from the class of 1980, and her husband, Todd, and their children and spouses, Jacob, Joshua, and Shelby Price, Cassie, and Logan Bowery, and they're sitting right over here. I have 3 business associates and friends that came all the way from Little Rock to be with me today. The first one is Ben Cruz. He was our paper supplier and the best friend you could ever have. Christy and Scotty Danley are also here today. They also came from Little Rock, and Christy was our CFO and COO, and ultimately our son's partner in Magna 4. I'd also like to recognize my classmates from the class of 1965. I love you all. Gary's education in the art of printing began in high school, in offset printing class. You know, Gary and I were deeply saddened when the school boards took trade classes out of high school, because many of our classmates found their life's work in these trade classes. So did Gary, as did Gary. His education continued in subsequent jobs in Oklahoma City and in Kansas, and he became quite knowledgeable in all areas of pre-press, and also in some beginning of printing. At the ripe old age of 24, he was hired to manage a plant in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, where he learned how to run a business, manage people, and sell to customers. In 1975, new technology was emerging in pre-press, and since the owner of the shop that he was managing failed to embrace this new technology, he knew he was going to be passed by if he stayed. And he always wanted to be in business for himself since he was a teenager. He'd always had a desire to have his own company. And so after a lengthy discussion with Gary had with me, we decided to do it. Originally, we had decided to come back here to Oklahoma City. But his mentor that here in Oklahoma City was doing the same thing. So we decided to move 45 miles to the north to Little Rock and open up our business there. And that was the center of advertising and printers anyway, so that was where we needed to be. We incorporated our business in 1975, and Magna 4 was born. We started our business on a shoestring budget in a new town with just a few contacts and customers. Were we crazy or what? No, I don't think we were. We had faith in each other. And with Gary's knowledge, how could we fail? Anyway, I'm not saying it was all smooth sailing, but anyone who's been in business knows their struggles. And our first struggle that we came across was because we were not born and raised in Arkansas. We had to prove that we were as good or better than our competitors. Luckily, Gary was the best color man in the state, and it wasn't too long before he was winning over some difficult advertising executives and printers. We opened our business on October 7th, 1975, and soon grew from the 3 of us to 4 to 5 to 6, 7 employees. And we outgrew our space. We added more space, more equipment, more employees over the next 10 years of business. And we moved to larger quarters, and that's when my son joined us in 1988, excuse me, he graduated from the University of Arkansas. We acquired our first business, the typesetting and design business, in 1991. We bought a small press and grew to over 40 employees. In 1997, we acquired our first printing company, which was established in 1901. And a year later, in 1998, we bought our second printing company, which was established in 1899. We were officially in the printing business and moved to the location of our first printer. In 2007, we acquired our main competitor in pre-press. I think that was one of Gary's proudest moments. we now employ over 75 people. We combined 2 printers, 2 pre-press businesses into one location. It wasn't fun, let me tell you, putting 2 rival printing companies, long-term rival printing companies together. But we did it. One thing that seemed to help was a company picnic that we had for our fellow employees and their families. They began to see each other as members of the Magna 4 family, no longer rivals. And Gary and I noticed something too that day. We saw the number of people who were impacted by our decision to go into business in 1975. We were quite hungry and more determined than ever to continue to grow our business. Magna 4 had grown to be one of the largest sheet-fed printers in the Mid-South. That's a mouthful, believe it or not. We were offering design service, of course pre-press, vertical data printing, large format printing, fulfillment, mail processing, customer portals, as well as short and long-run sheet-fed printing. I'm proud to say that Magna 4 is still alive today and hopefully growing. It will be 49 years old, 1 month from today. You know, all the while we were building our business, we were fighting 2 formidable competitors or opponents, diabetes and heart disease. Gary was diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 30 and heart disease at 32. In a 12-year period, he had 2 angioplasties, 2 bypass surgeries, a carotid artery surgery, a laser surgery to try to get blood to the bottom of his heart, and a gastric bypass surgery, all from 1988 to the year 2000. You know, after his first bypass, he wanted to learn how to dance. So he practically drove me to the studio. I mean, he had to force me to go with him. But needless to say, I'm the one who fell in love with ballroom dancing. I danced in many shows and competed for 17 years, winning many national and regional awards. Gary retired at 62, and I retired from the business at 67 and sold the business to Kent and our CFO, COO, Christy Ballard. Gary left this world 2 years later at the age of 69, and he had lived 29 years longer than his life expectancy. He had appeared in many newspaper articles, touting our business acquisitions and expansions, or promoting some charity event that he was chairing. But I think the article that he would have been most proud of was in the Arkansas Business the year after he died. They listed the noteworthy people who had died the previous year, and he was among those noted. You know, I need to speak to Capitol Hill for just a minute. We were always proud of Capitol Hill's heritage, and we attended every one of our reunions. We loved them so much, and our fellow classmates, that we started something, get-togethers, that became known as the Redskin Roundup. It started with some of Gary's fellow club buddies and their wives. It's grown to be much more than that. We met at a variety of places. We met in Grapevine, Texas, San Antonio, Hot Springs Village, and of course several times in Little Rock and on the White River in Arkansas. After Gary's passing, the tradition has continued here in Oklahoma, thanks to Randy and Dorothy Wade. And I hope it will be a tradition for many years to come. I moved back to Oklahoma 3 years ago, and I am so glad to be back here and to get to see the family that's here and all my Capitol Hill friends more often. I'm going to close with a story that Gary told many times about his love for Capitol Hill. He was calling on a customer, and they were in her office. She was an advertising executive. And he noticed something in her office that made him ask, you're not from Arkansas either, are you? Where'd you grow up? And she said, I'm from Oklahoma City. And Gary says, well, so am I. Where'd you go to school? She replied, Northwest Classic. And she asked Gary, well, where did you go to school, Gary? And he replied, Capitol Hill. These were her exact words as Gary used to say. She went, oh, you're a thug? And Gary said, yes, ma'am, and damn well proud of it. Thank you, Gary, for giving us this great.
Receiving the 2024 Athletic Award is William B. Grissom, class of 1967. Bill was on the varsity football team for 2 years and the varsity baseball team for 3 years. He made All-City and All-State in 1967. He then played 2 years at Northeastern A&M in Miami, Oklahoma, where he was selected as All-Conference in 1969. He played in the Tulsa Collegiate League the summer of 1968, and for the National Baseball Congress team in Boone, Iowa, the summer of 1969. This led to offers from Tulsa University and Oral Roberts University, but he chose to walk on at the University of Oklahoma. Injury quickly ended his time at OU. Subsequently, he was also recruited to play at Central State, now the University of Central Oklahoma, where once again injury ended his playing days. He continued his academic program, graduated from Texas Tech University in 1981 with a degree in accounting and became a CP in Texas and Oklahoma. In 2008, he received an MBA from Oklahoma City University with high honors. In 1998, he participated in the startup of a nonprofit company known today as I2E to provide consulting services to Oklahoma high technology entrepreneurs, under contract to OCAST, Oklahoma Center for the Advancement of Science and Technology. He was hired as the first COO and the first CFO by the first executive director and served 6 years. He developed 2 business model tools, a business plan review scorecard and a financial forecasting and business evaluation model. The success of the company opened opportunities for him to speak in 8 states and 2 foreign countries. He is now retired and enjoys time with his wife, 4 kids, 5 grandchildren, and 1 great-granddaughter. He enjoys playing golf with friends from Capitol Hill High School of 1967, although he never wins.
In addition to baseball and golf, Bill plays the guitar and was president of the Oklahoma City Traditional Music Association for 6 years and a volunteer group leader at the Healthy Living Center, a MAPS project. Reflecting on his time at CHHS, he says, it has been an important part of everything I have done since and has provided me with relationships that no other subsequent education or professional opportunity has done.
Thank you very much. I'm very humbled for this great honor. I'm very respectful of the Hall of Fame, because I know so many people in it, and I got to go to school with so many, it's really surprising, and I'd like to say how lucky I feel that I got to go to Capitol Hill. Someone said once that when you look back on your life, to determine what was important, it won't be the things that you accomplished. It won't be the places you've gone and seen, but it will be the people you've known. And that has really been the truth in my life because of the people I met and knew at Capitol Hill. I'd like to tell the young people at Capitol Hill now, do not underestimate the value of the friendships that you're making right now, because they may turn out to be the most important relationships that you have for the rest of your life. Before I start telling you my story at Capitol Hill, I want to preface it with a quote from my favorite storyteller, Mark Twain. He said, Nothing ruins the telling of a good story like the arrival of an eyewitness. So as I tell my story, and I know we've got a room full of eyewitnesses, please bear with me. My memory varies a little bit from you. I grew up a huge sports fan. All I wanted to do was play ball. I didn't care about anything else. I was a big Yankees fan, the Cardinals fan. I was a Capitol Hill High School fan when I was a small boy because I just wanted to play ball. And everybody knew that in Oklahoma City, if you wanted to play ball, Capitol Hill was the place to play ball. They were the best. Well, before I graduated from Roosevelt Junior High, the city redistricted, and suddenly I was going to Grant. And so, I was shocked. But fortunately for me, I had a big sister, Anita Grissom Henson. And that allowed for me to make a choice. I could get a special transfer and go to Capitol Hill, or I could go to Grant. Well, I went to Capitol Hill, where I wanted to go, thanks to my older sister. And I know it was the right decision. It was the best place to be. Shortly after I got to Capitol Hill, maybe a week or so, we had our first Friday night football game, right? So you go up, get in the stands. I got to go because my sister Anita was going to march in the Capitol Hill High School band. And so I was supposed to go there and watch my sister, and I got to admit, I don't really remember much about that. But I can tell you what I remember about that first night at Capitol Hill was Siobhan Dakin, Norman Cobbin, Marvin Tulate, and Steve Spiegel running a two-formation football offense that was unlike anything I'd ever seen before or since in high school. So I sat there saying, man, I came to the right place. Look at these guys. And I'm going to be here with them. That spring, I got to play baseball with a guy some of you may know, Ronnie Dobbs, all-state left-hander, amazing baseball player. And another guy named Rod D. Wisely. Rod Wisely was an infielder on that baseball team that would only play 4 years at Oklahoma State University, and then was a coach at Putnam City High School in 1989. He was selected the Coach of the Year by the Daily Oklahoman. So I'm just like, man, these guys I'm getting to meet and play with. The very next year, I got to play baseball with Hall of Famer Jim Grossbeck, another All-State pitcher on a baseball team. He was one of the most competitive players I ever saw. But it was so exciting because I look back on my career. My senior year was absolutely amazing. The people that I got to meet, to play with. Senior year on the football team, I played safety. And if you know anything about football, you're the guy way in the back. Well, now make no mistake about it, I was not much of a football player, but I loved being out there watching these guys in front of me play football. And it was such a great opportunity, because on the same team, at the same time, I could stand back there and watch Hall of Famer Tony Gabbard, Hall of Famer Jim Nugent playing on the line. In front of me was Hall of Famer Gary Peck playing linebacker. And right next to me was Hall of Famer Bob Massey, a state champion hurdler and high jumper. And I saw him do things in the defensive secondary that defied gravity. It was really unbelievable. So all of those things. And on that team, probably the two best players were Carl Benton and Richard Bishop, who were just outstanding on both sides of the ball. We didn't win as many games as we should have won because our heart and soul of our football team was a left-handed quarterback named Phil Waddy. He got hurt, so we just didn't score many points, but we really had a good time. That same year after football season, we'd go down to the field house and watch the basketball. And on the same basketball team, I got to see Hall of Famer Johnny Williams play with Hall of Famer Alan Lewis. And boy, did they put on a show in that field house, and I still remember that. Then my senior year on the baseball team, we did get to go to the state championship tournament, lost in the first round by 1 run, but there was such a great bunch of guys. Behind the plate was Jackie Ross, and at first base we had a young man by the name of Larry Kitchens, the most graceful baseball player I've ever seen. He played the game and made it look simple and easy, just over and over again. At second base we had Hall of Famer Dr. Jim McCarron, who, while still in high school, probably knew as much theory of baseball and strategy as any of our coaches did. Then on the mound, we had Russell Davis. Some of you may remember him, a left-hander that could throw a baseball through a brick wall if he could just hit it. A year later, he was drafted in the Major League Baseball draft. And then we had another pitcher, many of you remember by the name of Stan Richards. He had the best form of any pitcher I've ever seen. He looked like a training video while he was pitching. He went on to pitch for 4 years at the University of Oklahoma as a part of their very exceptional pitching staff. Of course, we had a superstar out in left field, our Hall of Famer, Robert Pug Tulate. He could hit against anybody, and he was going to score runs no matter who we played. It was amazing to be on the team, Pug Tulate. And then lastly, the heart and soul of that loaded baseball team was a speedster center fielder by the name of Johnny Whitson that could run, throw, hit for average, even had exceptional power. But he was the most natural leader of men I had ever met in my life. And he was the leader on that baseball team. There were so many guys that I got to play ball with that wound up in this Hall of Fame, and then others that were, significant in my life that I just felt so fortunate to get to go to Capitol Hill. Now there's others that I went to school with that I didn't mention. Rick Claxton here, Roy Vineyard. I went to school with both of those guys and so many others. So today at age 75, I have countless friends from that class. There's still 8 of us guys, approximately, that get together and play golf regularly. And so I've got these friends that I made at Capitol Hill. The significance of that for me is that after I left Capitol Hill, I went to Northeastern A&M, OU, Central State, Texas Tech, and Oklahoma City University. And from all of those schools, I've stayed in contact with exactly one friend. But I got 8 guys from Capitol Hill I play golf with all the time. So I'm so incredibly happy to have gone to Capitol Hill. Thank you, Anita. And I would tell the students today, never underestimate the importance and the value of friendships that you're making right now, and cherish them. I'd like to say thank you to the coaches that I had, Jake Jacobson, Willie Edwards, Zeke Spiegel, Claudia Overton, and Bobby Pritchard, for coaching me, and for them and my teammates for tolerating me as I was hard to live with and slow to grow up. I wish my parents were here. They were my greatest fans, but I've got a lot of family right here. My wife, my children, some grandkids, and my sister, Anita, as I mentioned. It's incredible to have that kind of support, and it's good to be able to say thank you here to them today. I want to say thank you to Rick Young for the nomination and to the Alumni Hall of Fame Committee for my selection. This is one of the greatest honors of my life, and I'm very humbled. Thank you very much.
Receiving the J.W. Mashburn Community Leadership Award is Exiquio Zeke Gonzalez, class of 1993. Starting in 2021, Zeke became a nonprofit for the purpose of helping and mentoring young people of all ages in the heart of Capitol Hill, known as the Little Gym on the South Side, or CELDA 151, is a safe place for kids to learn they can have control in their lives through making good decisions. Through CELDA 151, Zeke has produced Rumble in the Barrio, and Boxing in the Barrio as platforms for forecasting or showcasing the talents of his gym members. He's located just a few doors down from the corner of South Harvey and Commerce on the south side of the street. He has participated in the Fiestas de las Americas events celebrated in the Capitol Hill area in connection with Cali Dulce. In addition to his ties to the community, he is also an active member of the Oklahoma Justice Reform. He advocates for justice reform as he shares his experience of injustice with the judicial system. Zeke credits his Capitol Hill High School baseball coach, Coach Donnie, with saving his life through his structure on the court and his personal belief in me. I was the fastest guy on the team, even though I was the smallest and skinniest. He taught me as a point guard to take control and to push through adversity. Zeke served in the Air Force Reserve. He holds a BA in Organized Leadership and MBA from Southern Nazarene University. He is currently working towards licensing an aircraft airframe technician at Will Rogers Airfield. His willingness to lead by example to build the confidence of Capitol Hill youth demonstrates the type of leadership needed in our community today.
Zeke is our first honoree from the decade of the 80s. Congratulations. Zeke has a tremendous vision for the future of Capitol Hill High School and the young people of the Capitol Hill community. He believes tomorrow's success depends upon today's choices. His energy is focused on teaching, training, and developing skills in good decision-making about every choice in life.
Oh, wow. First, I want to thank Erica for nominating me, the Alumni Association, my mother over here, my sister, my primo, my brother, my coach Tully over here, my coach Tully here. They all had a big impact on my life in different aspects of it. But the thing I want to start with, I wanted to tell a joke. It's a dirty joke, so I hope you don't get offended. But my little niece came up to me, I think she's like 7 or 8 years old, and she goes, can I tell you a dirty joke? I'm like, well, so I look over to my sister, and she nods like, confirming like, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Mia, go ahead. And she goes, a white horse fell in the mud. And I say that to say this, the innocence of a child. As we grow and we the transformation in life happens, you know what I'm saying? As we grow in perspective and everything like that. And that's what I'm about, you know what I'm saying? We learn about these things from, friends, family, from school, from sports, you know what I'm saying, and community. And that's what I'm about, community. I have a boxing gym on the south side of Oklahoma City. I say the heart of the south side of Oklahoma City, which is on 25th and Harvey, right next to Coney Island. You're probably familiar with that, the historical Capitol Hill. And we there, a lot of people think of boxing about the physical aspect. We do promote, a healthy lifestyle. But the thing behind that is the psychological part, about endurance, that's the physical, about enduring, things in life, overcoming adversity, having control of your emotions. Other things we instill is integrity, respect, self-respect, things like that, emotional intelligence, diversity and inclusion. And that's one of the things that I was exposed to as a kid, at Capitol Hill. I played football, basketball, I played soccer, and I ran track. You gotta remind me, I'm still short, but I was short. I'm actually 5'7" according to the Air Force, which I'm not. That's my story, I'm sticking to it. And I learned that from my coach Tully, I didn't say my coach Tully, Coach Tully. And it's something that, as I play basketball, and I come down the court, I was a point guard, you gotta again, I'm a real short guy, you know what I'm saying? I was real skinny, I was just out there playing, but he gave me that, he believed in me, you know what I'm saying? And that made me believe in myself. And that helped me and, gave me confidence in myself to do that. And that's what I do for these kids. Give them confidence, to achieve whatever they need to achieve, whatever they want to achieve, they can achieve. As I played basketball, like I said, You know, first day, I think it was, I forgot when we played, and, you know, we're giving out uniforms, and, you know, I go up, and he's like, "What's size Zeke?" And I'm like, you know, extra large. You're saying me like, and he has a southern accent, he's just talking about it. Extra large. And I'm looking at him, he throws a small at me or something like that, and you know, here. I'm like, okay, well, you know. But the whole thing on the court, I was like 6 feet tall. You know what I'm saying? Couldn't nobody tell me any different. You know what I'm saying? And I built that confidence up from him. You know, he taught me that. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. But throughout life, that you know, that I had that perspective in life. You know, just, you know, keep on going. I'm a leader. I'm going to make this happen. And that was the whole point of that. You know, and you know, my best friend in high school went to Capitol Hill. He was starter. My best friend was killed. After that, put a lot of things in perspective for me to understand where I want to go in life and what I want to do in life. You know, and a lot of people, like you said, I forgot who was up here, like, Captain Hill, you're a thug. Like, yeah, we're thugs. You know? and it's a funny story. But, so, Coach Dooley, he like, we play ball or something like that. If one of you fight, all of y'all gonna fight. If you're on the bench, you're off the team. So that's one of the things that we did get a few fights, but we won. Fast forward, I want to go into the life happening thing, you know, and I live my life, and I have so many great role models, and I chose some things in life that wasn't so politically correct or justice correctly, but the thing behind that was, I don't know if you're familiar with My Way by Frank Sinatra, right? I live by that. I live life my way. And with that being said is, I was sentenced to life. And by the grace of God, I'm here today. Another person that believed in me was Colleen McCarty, a law student out of Tulsa, Oklahoma for criminal justice reform. And she took my case on when nobody else would. And so she got my case over to the Oklahoma Justice Reform. They looked at my case, and fast forward, they accepted a commutation. A commutation is a sentence reduction. So they recommended 20-25 years. So I'm like, hey, that's better than a life sentence. Hey, you know, 3 more years. I can serve 4.5 years. 3 more years. Good, you know, what do you call it? Good behavior. I'll be out. You know. So the commutation went through. So now it's up to the governor of Oklahoma to decide 20-25 years. No big deal. Fast forward a little bit. I had a program, an ESL program there in prison. That was an instructor that I created. And I was coming back from the schoolhouse back to my unit, and we do counts. They have different days, different hours counts, so we had to go back for count for lunch. And the unit manager called me into her room, you know, her office, and she goes, so I go in there, and her name was Miss Mary, we call her Miss Mary. She's like, so Zeke, do you need $50 for a bus pass, or you gotta ride home? I'm like, excuse me? She's like, do you have $50? Do you need $50 for a bus pass, or can you get a ride home? Like, Mary, I'm not understanding what you're saying. She goes, Zeke, you going home tomorrow? So I'm like, yeah. I mean, let me call. Can I call my mom? Yeah, come on, call home. And sure enough, I called home. And my mom picks up like, hey mom, can you come pick me up tomorrow? And she goes, I guess that's a love Exiquio. And she never calls me, she's like, what are you talking about, Exiquio? She never calls me Exiquio, unless I'm in trouble. So I had to, I don't know, hold on, this is serious, you know. The governor of Oklahoma signed my commutation, time served. I get to go home. And so there was a silence. It wasn't an awkward silence, it was like a peaceful silence. And then she gets back on the phone, yeah, you know, what time do I have to be there, you know, the logistics about it and all that. And I told her what time, and we good, she hung up the phone, okay, cool, you know, I'll do what I do. And about a year, here we go again, 2 years later, I asked my brother, I said, what did mom do when she hung up the phone? You know, I'm thinking she was jumping up for joy, like, you know, my son's coming home. And he said, she cried. And that broke my heart. And that's why I do what I do for these kids. I don't want them to go through what I had to go through, or anybody else around me had to go through making bad choices. So I encourage them, I empower them, I mentor them. Anything in my power I can do for them, I do it. Sometimes my wife don't like it, but I'll still do it. I remember Coach Tooley used to come pick me up in the summer for basketball camp in Chickasha. I'd be out in the front porch already and just, you know, and that's what I remember. And that's why he has a big influence on me, and I've never told him that, you know, and thank you, and I love you. And you know, and that's what he instilled in me, and that's what I'm doing for these kids. All right, thank you very much.
That's it. What a great group of honorees today. Thank you once again for coming and sharing your time with us. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Mike Ozenkopf, will you please lead us in the Alma Mater? Words are on the screen. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you next year.
Please stand for the Alma Mater. Here's to Alma Mater, may she always be in our hearts forever, standing proud to see her archways where we enter, her heart we love so dear. So here's a song to CHHS.